Now, when we say someone is extremely white, now have you ever sometimes you went to a store to get a foundation for yourself or for somebody or for your clients as a makeup artist, and the vendor or the seller is telling you that this is your shade, pick it, this is your shade, and you can actually see it that it's your shade. Either you see it or you don't even see it, but you accept it looking at the bottle, right? You can tell that okay, this is actually my shade. But the funniest thing is when you go to the place of work, when you are ready to apply it on yourself or your clients or your model, you realize that that foundation looks lighter or darker than your skin tone, even though it's your shade. But you cannot really figure out what is wrong because it's looking lighter, it's either whiter or darker than you. Something is wrong, even though it's your shade. You go back to the person, Hello, you told me this is my shade. But the person keeps telling you, Madam, you can see this is really matching your skin. Yes, it could be your shade, but what you lack is the concept of skin undertone. Even though a foundation could be your shade, a concealer could be your shade, a powder can be your shade, it might not possess of or have your undertone. So, in as much as you have a foundation that's your shade, the foundation must also possess your undertone. So, for example, so let's go to this now. When you have someone that's extremely white, of course, these kind of people are really not, I'm a Nigerian, currently living in Nigeria. By God's grace. I can't wait to be out of this country. That's a joke. But of course, I want to be out of this country. Canada to be precise. And God is going to do it. So let's go to class. Now, let's continue. Now, how do you know when you have someone that's extremely white? Like I said, we don't really have them in the part of the world. Most of these people with blonde hair and all that. Now, how do you know the right foundation to use for the person? One, the foundation must match that level of shade first. It must match that shade level, which means it should not be darker or lighter than the person. That's the first thing to consider. Now, the second thing to consider is that the foundation must have only a white undertone. Only, because you can have a foundation that has two undertones, you can have a foundation that have one undertone, and in rare cases you can have a foundation that has three undertones, maybe 2% of the times. So for extremely white, the best way to know the foundation or the powder or the concealer that you are going to apply, because every powder has the undertone, every concealer has an undertone, every foundation has an undertone. So the foundation you are going to use or whatever you're going to use here must first of all matches with that shade level first. Then it must now possess white undertone. Number two, let's go to mixed. So this is it. This is from the lightest to the darkest. This is from the lightest to the darkest, which means white is lighter than red. White is lighter than yellow. Yellow is lighter than red. Same way to this. Now, mixed is also white, but not as white as extremely white. Like I said, it goes down like this. Then from darkest to the lightest, lightest to the darkest. Now, how do you know the foundation? I can call these people, let me say, I can categorize half caste. Not really, but I can categorize them as half caste. Now, how do you know the right foundation, the concealer, the right powder to use for these people? Like I said, number one, it must match up with that level of shade first, which means it should not be darker than that person and it should not be lighter than that person. So that's the first one. Now, secondly, it must possess white and yellow undertone. Don't forget I said a foundation can have one undertone, a foundation can have two undertones in it, and in rare cases, a foundation can have three undertones, which means that you can have a foundation that has white and yellow undertones. You can have a foundation that has yellow and orange undertones. You can have a foundation that has orange and red undertones. And you can also have a foundation that has only white. You can have a foundation that has only yellow. You can have a foundation that has orange. You can have a foundation that has red. Are you getting it here? So for mixed, you need a foundation that has white undertone and a foundation that has yellow undertone. It can be one single bottle of foundation that has both white and yellow in it. or it can be a separate foundation of that person's shade that has only white undertone, and another foundation of that person's shade, of this mixed shade, that has yellow undertone. Then what do? You do your mixology. You mix together. Then you achieve this. Let's continue. The third one is light skin tone. Now, I categorize the regular RIG, regular Igbo girl, in this category. Number 3, light skin tone. You know those yellow regular Igbo girl, that yellow tone, no? That yellow, you know how they used to be yellow, right? I categorize those are the people that falls under the light skin tone. So, one shade lighter are the people in the mixed category. One shade lighter are the people in the extremely white category. Now, for the light skin tone, how do you know the right foundation to use? How do you know the right concealer to use? How do you know the right powder to use for a light skin tone? One, it must match up with the level of that skin shade, which means that it must not be lighter than the person, and the foundation must not be darker than the person. That's the first thing. Now, the second thing is the foundation must also have only yellow undertone. So, if extremely white must possess only white, mixed must possess only white and yellow, light skinned must possess only yellow. Then caramel will be what? Now, we have 3 here, right? Trust me, if you follow this class one, this is a class I charge about 120,000 naira to 150,000 naira for. Just talking about skin tone and undertone. Trust me, this is deep, because once you understand this concept, you can never, for once, have any issue with color theory, mixing of, okay, what foundation should I, without, no, by default your brain just process it. And I'm going to talk about how do you know that this person has yellow undertone. How do you know that this person has white undertone? How can you recognize that this person has orange undertone? How do you know that Sister Bosse has red undertone? How do you know that Sister Chiamaka has white undertone? I'm going to talk about it in my next video, line by line. But do me a favor. If you enjoyed this class and you love and you've learned at least one or two things in this class, please do not hesitate. In fact, I'm going to say you are going to be, okay, don't let me use that word, but it's going to be much appreciated when you click on the follow button, you drop a comment of what you learned in this class, then lastly you share. Because when you share it, people get more to see it, and of course it's going to energize me to do more. Trust me, this is your best class ever. Your global educator is here. Your best makeup educator is here. So from next video, I'm going to talk about start from number 4. And trust me, the last issue you had with skin tone and undertone, it's going to be the last issue you had about it. See you next class. Once again, my name is Jeff Family and Friends. Call me Easy Great Beauty. Easy Great Beauty on all social media, on everywhere. Alright, you can also find my contacts in the description box. And we presently we're also taking one-on-one training. If you want to come for our one-on-one training, you're always welcome. See you in the next video.